Good morning, children. So again, we'll be learning about forces, but today we'll learn about two different types of forces, which is your balanced force and unbalanced force. Okay? Balanced forces and unbalanced forces. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's see. So first of all, we all know what a force is. Okay? Anything moves if some forces apply to it. Nothing moves unless some forces apply to it in a direction. Okay? Now, you saw that this girl was moving this object. This object was moved only because she applied the force. Right? Because she applied force. If she had not applied the force, the object would not move. So, every movement is always caused by some unbalanced force. If the object is moving, that means an unbalanced force is being applied to it. Okay, now remember, I'm repeating again. If something is moving, that means an unbalanced force is being applied to it. So let's see what is a balanced and unbalanced force now. Okay. Now she's applying force. So this blue arrow is going to tell you that she has applied force. Okay. Now see, we learned about friction. So friction works here because the object is rubbing against the floor. So there is a friction here. And that was her force that she was applying. So now if a person is standing, okay, now what is happening? The floor is pushing the boy upward. Pushing the boy upward in the sense, if there was no floor, the boy would go down further, right? Right? It does not happen as if the gravity is sucking you down like a magnet, pulling you really hard. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Gravity is not like pulling you harder कि आप surface पे भी छेद करके नीचे चले जाओ, right? So it's just, so gravity pulls you down, but right now the floor is pushing you upwards, which is making you stand. Okay? And the gravity is pulling the boy downwards. Now because boy is not in the air, लेकिन वो हवा में भी नहीं है, he is on some sort of surface on the floor. So gravity is pulling him down and the floor is pushing him upwards. अब now both the forces are equal. दोनों में ताकत equal लगी है, दोनों में force equal लगा है. So they are balanced because nothing is moving. Okay, like I told you, if something moves, that means there is an unbalanced force. किसी तरफ को force ज़्यादा लगा है. Okay, that would be your unbalanced force. Whereas if something is not moving at all, that means that thing has balanced force. They are balanced. That is why the boy is in a standing position. ऊपर और नीचे को बराबर ताकत लगी है. In case of balanced forces, equal and opposite forces are acting on an object. And that is your balanced force. Now, if two people will push this box from opposite sides, एक यहाँ से push कर रहा है, एक यहाँ से push कर रहा है. अब box हिल नहीं रहा है. Why? You saw both of them applying force. Look at them moving. But the box is not moving. The box is not moving because both are applying the same amount of force. दोनों बराबर ताकत लगा रहे हैं. And the object is not moving. That means वो लोग balanced force लगा रहे हैं. Now, if this person will apply, now you can see the arrow, this became bigger and this became the smaller one. So the object will move only if one person applies more force. So balance नहीं होगा, वो unbalanced हो जाएगा फिर. Now this person applied more force, right? So this one applied more force, then the object was able to move. That means there is an unbalanced force here. Okay? So this one applied more force, so unbalanced. Balanced तब होगा जब equal force होंगी. So it's a balanced force. But if someone applies more, then it would have unbalanced force. Now tug of war खेलते हैं हम, इसमें हम rope pull करते हैं, right? इसमें क्या होता है? The one team pulls the rope from the one end and the other team pulls the rope from the other end, and you would have noticed that for a time being कोई टीम हिलती नहीं है, कोई सी भी टीम नहीं हिलती है, right? That means both the teams are applying the equal amount of force, which is not making the rope to move. और suddenly एक टीम ज्यादा फोर्स लगाती है, unbalanced force लगाती है, तो क्या होता है? The rope moves and that team wins. जो ज्यादा फोर्स लगाती है वो वाली टीम जीत जाती है. So for playing tug of war, you need unbalanced force. Now look at both of them, they both are pulling. Now one of them have to apply more force. Okay, see, this one applied more force, so this boy got pulled towards him, right? If any ball or object is at rest, balanced forces are acting on it. So now if there is an object which is at rest, वो move नहीं कर रहा है, okay, so that means it has balanced force. Now if someone kicks the ball, the force of kick is more than the force already acting on it. अभी तक तो जो force था वो क्या था? Balanced force था, right? That the balanced force, just like I told you about the boy standing, gravity is pulling him down, but the surface is pushing him upwards, so it's not moving, and there is balanced force. But the boy came and the boy kicked it. तो boy ने जो kick करके force उस पे लगाया वो ज्यादा था. So the ball will move, right? So the ball will move. So now the ball will move, and you'll see that it will also go a little further, but also it will stop after a while. Now, what is the reason for it to stop? Now, the ball is rubbing against a surface, which is creating friction, and the friction will start to increase after a time, and the ball will stop. Force of kick applied, gravity है तो बॉल हवा में नहीं गई है, नीचे ही है, and there is friction. जैसे friction ज्यादा होगा, the ball will stop. Now the balanced forces are acting on the ball, but when the boy kicked the ball, उस समय कैसे force था? Unbalanced. जैसे ही friction बढ़ने लगा, the force became balanced and the ball stopped. Now जैसे ही वो रुकी, that means उस पे फिर से balanced force apply हो गया. So if something is not moving, it has balanced force. If something is moving, it has unbalanced force. So every movement is caused by unbalanced force. When one out of the various forces acting on an object is more than the other forces, only then the object moves. Now look at this seesaw. You can easily see this boy is heavier. This girl is not as heavy as this boy. ठीक है? So now अगर weight equal होगा तो क्या होगा? Balanced forces. This is why when we have this tarazu, right? That weighing scale that sabzi walas have, वो ऐसे weighing वाला जो होता है. So what do? They have to put equal weight both the side, right? And then once the balance force is applied and both of them become equal, then the shopkeeper says, now you can buy it. So if a heavy person sits any side, वो side क्या होगी? नीचे हो जाएगी. तो वहां पे जो force है वो ज्यादा लगेगा, right? It will incline the seesaw towards the ground. So balance forces cause no movement. They're equal in size, act in opposite direction. Unbalanced forces unequal होते हैं size में. ये हमेशा movement cause करते हैं. They always cause movement. Can be in the same or opposite direction. Unbalanced forces acting in the same direction. ठीक है, देखो अभी सेम डायरेक्शन में कैसे होंगे अनबैलेंस फोर्स. सो बोथ पीपल आर पुशिंग द कार इन द सेम डायरेक्शन, और कार सेम डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, सो दैट इज योर अनबैलेंस फोर्स एक्टिंग इन द सेम डायरेक्शन. टू पीपल पुलिंग द रोप इन ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन, सो दैट इज अगेन योर अनबैलेंस फोर्स. देखो एक भी कोई हार नहीं रहा है, कोई भी एक लाइन से आगे नहीं आ पा रहा है. Okay. Now I'm going to send a little quiz for all of you to solve. There are so many questions. What I want you to do is, I want you to copy all those questions down in your science notebook and then tick the correct one there. Okay. Okay. Now let me show you a few things. Now this is my laptop and I'm showing you the bottom side of my laptop. Now this laptop is made of plastic. The whole body is made of plastic. But you would see at the corners, it is rectangular, in its face is rectangular. So if you would see at the corner, there are these things. Now, do you know why? What do these things do? Why? They have been put here for more friction. Okay, if it was just a laptop, of course, if you have a laptop, where will you put it? We will put it on a table that has a glass like this. Okay, or we would put on a table which has no glass but has a wooden texture like this. Like this, right? So if we put it there, what will happen is every time I'll type something on it. Okay, let me just show you. So I have kept my laptop here. So now what would happen is every time I go and type something on it, and if I apply a little more force, if I accidentally apply a little more force, so if it was just plastic, it would move here and there like a lot. Now it is not that easy for my laptop to move that much now. See? Now it is because of these little rubber patches that are applied right here on the laptop. So they are giving my laptop some more friction and they're not letting it just move very freely. If it was just plastic, now let me put a scissor here and show you. अभी हम यहाँ पे scissor रख के आपको दिखाते हैं कि अगर सिर्फ प्लास्टिक होता तो it would have become very easy for to move. See? And it is not only about rubber patch, it's also about the weight. Now laptop is a little heavier, yes. Okay. Here I'm putting the laptop. Again, this is why it has these patches. So, which make them a little harder. See here. Harder for the object to move. Okay. So that it will give more friction. And every time I would apply force on it accidentally, so it would not move too much. Whereas something, even if it was something as heavy as this laptop and had no rubber patch, it would move. It would have less friction than this one and it would move. Okay. Now I'm putting the laptop right here. Okay, let me use something else, not the laptop. So I have put these wooden clocks right here. Okay, these are made of wood. And then it's not as hard as a wood because it has been painted. And it is the texture is slippery, little glossy. So they're moving freely, see? Okay, so now they're right there. Or if I put this on the ground, so what would happen? Now, the surface is pushing it up and the gravity is pulling it down, right? Gravity है इसीलिए यहाँ पर ये नीचे है फ्लोर पे, otherwise ये थोड़ा सा हवा में होता, right? And surface की वजह से क्या है कि ये घुस के नीचे नहीं जा रहे हैं, देखो फ्लोर से, ये फ्लोर पे ही रुके हुए हैं now, so the floor is pushing it upward. So what type of force is being applied to it? What type of force is being applied to it? Balanced force. This is why the object is not moving at all, right? Balanced force. Now, if I'd move this further, now what type of force is being applied to it? Unbalanced force, right? Now, अब एक तरफ से उसमें ज़्यादा ताकत लगी है, so that is your unbalanced force. Now let's look at this car. Now this car is standing right there. Now imagine this is not a toy car, this is an actual car. Or any vehicle that you have. Just imagine that. Just imagine that it is an actual car, okay? So now you come out from a place, then you open the doors of the car and then you sit inside it. Now, are you going to apply any force on this vehicle to move? Now, right now it is not moving at all. So it has, what type of force is being applied to it? Balanced force. Now, are you going to apply any force from your side? Now, in the vehicles, what do we do is, yes, we do apply force, but it is not actually a muscular force. That means it is not being applied by you, your muscles. Like, आपको ऐसे गाड़ी को पीछे से ऐसे push नहीं करना पड़ता है ना? So what you do is you sit inside and there you can just accelerate the speed. So we have technologies now. So earlier, to apply forces to the vehicles, we would use, what would we use? The animals who would pull them. Now there is these technologies have come. Now we don't have to do anything. We just have to sit in, accelerate by putting our feet right here. And in the scooters, we have to accelerate using our hands, right? So we actually don't have to apply any muscular force, but we can just apply the force using the same vehicle, and the vehicle moves. And then we can apply force, and that force, if the movement happens, that force becomes unbalanced force. All right. So let me just put back the things, and I'm going to send questions now, as I told you. Make sure you complete them, and you can send your work after Monday. Bye-bye.